Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Sit back, relax, and grab a fucking drink.
If you're dragging through your days, ditch the cheap coffee and sugar-packed energy drinks for a Navy SEAL-approved source of energy, Cardomax Energy Intensifier. It's owned and operated by former Navy SEAL Sean Matson. Cardomax's Energy Intensifier has B3, B6, and B12 vitamins, caffeine, and BCAAs that'll keep you dialed up to 10 throughout your workouts, early mornings and long afternoons. Use the promo code DB to get 30% off your next 4 orders at Cardomax.com. That's Cardomax.com. Helping you achieve your max. Welcome to Drinking Bros podcast, kids. Last week, we had was it last week, D'Anthony, or the week before?
All these weeks run together because I've been in and out of Kabul. Wait, no, that's him.
That's right. Yes, yes. We've been behind a desk. Meanwhile, our friends have been going over to Kabul.
I had a pretty rough poop this morning.
Yeah, I bet.
That's as hard as my life's been lately.
But today we got Nick Palmisano on the show today. He obviously went over to Kabul with Tim Kennedy, and there's been a lot of crazy stories circulating in the news and on social media about what you guys did or didn't do over there, and we thought we'd have you on the show here to set the record straight today. Nick, thanks for being here.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. Good to see you guys again.
Yeah. So are you back in the United States now?
I am back in North Carolina. I'm actually heading to DC next week to figure out what does phase 2 and 3 look like, because now we have a shitload of refugees and we also have a shitload of people that still are trapped in Afghanistan.
I thought we got everybody out.
Yeah. Biden said we got everybody, right? We're good.
Various numbers floating around, but our guess is somewhere around 500 to 1,000 American citizens and 20,000 SIVs.
Gotcha. Describe for us when you found out that what was going on over there and that they were just yanking everybody and everybody was kind of fucked. What made you want to go, and what was that phone call like between you and Tim?
Yeah. First of all, I think like all veterans, like all decent Americans, watching the total shit show that was the pullout of Afghanistan, everybody knows what that means for those people. That you're gonna die. You're gonna die badly. You're going. If you're lucky enough not to die, your life is going to be garbage. So that took an emotional toll on everybody. And then Dan, I know you know Sarah Verardo. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting next to Tim in Austin, Texas. I had just worked out with all of his freak friends, doing freak workouts, feeling sorry for myself, eating a breakfast taco. And Sarah texts me hey, I really think you should go to Afghanistan. And honestly, totally honest, at first I thought it was a joke. Why would I go when there's so many people that are, younger, more talented, et cetera. And then 5 minutes later, Chad Robichaud, who runs the Mighty Oak Foundation, hits up Tim, and then a minute later hits me up. So now it's 2 people that I really trust that are hey, we need help. Tim and I talked about it and kind of, it was kind of like that moment where everybody jokes about your buddy pulls up in the van and says, "Don't ask questions, get in."
Get in, loser. We're going to fuck up the Taliban.
We're gonna go to Afghanistan. It was all right, let's do it. And then we both stopped and said, we have to ask our wives first. And so Tim goes in the other room and I call Suze, and I'm expecting Suze to tell me to just fuck off. And dude, she was like, all right, what's happening there is terrible. I can't do anything about it, but you can, Tim can. So you need to go. But if you get killed, I'm going to be really pissed off. That was it. And so I flew from Tim's house home because it was literally my wedding anniversary the next day. had my wedding anniversary, and then the next day I was on a plane to first to UAE and then to Kabul.
Let me ask you this, because there was some other questions about who funded this, who funded you guys going over.
Yeah.
Was it your own money?
So there are a few organizations floating around that did different things. So who funded Tim and I physically going there? Tim and I paid for it. Who funded the flights? At first, the first 2 planes that we had were literally a previous existing relationships that some of our 12-person team had with the government of UAE. And those guys, when I tell you that they were fucking amazing, they gave us 2 C-17s.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like, hey, you guys have these 2 C-17s to use with the crew.
Yeah. Which you can
on
put,
that
you can put
on the
about
house.
you can comfortably put about 300 people in there, but I think you can squeeze in a little bit more. Like 600 is what I saw in the fucking picture.
600 is about, we were running between 400 and 600 on those.
So those photos that we saw in the media are accurate, because it looked like, God, I mean, it looked like 1,000 people just crammed in there.
Usually if an infantry, like when my infantry battalion would deploy, we would have our company and a support element would be in one of those with all of our rucks behind the seats. So it would be like 180 or so people, and then our rucks behind the seats. You can put enough seats in there for about 300 people. But as you can see from those pictures, people aren't fucking sitting down.
I was going to say, it looked
They're
like double
hanging,
that.
they're hanging on for dear life while doing.
Yep.
I assume they're doing a combat takeoff, which means you elevate as fast as you fucking possibly can.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not comfortable for anybody, especially with a bunch of goddamn babies on board.
Yeah, because that's the next thing I'll get to. When you get there, Sarah told us you had, I think, 39 infants as well on the plane, along with 400 people.
Yeah,
like, adults.
The last plane I flew out was a charter plane. It wasn't a C-17, so we got so good at this, we got so efficient that we needed more planes, and so we reached out to some people, and we were able to get a few charter planes from Glenn Beck's group. Basically, he just was like, yeah, take them, which was amazing. So then it's 12 random dudes. I mean, I'm telling you, man, like 12 random dudes that all kind of got the call from either Sarah or Chad with 5 planes, 5 airframes. And we were just running the shit out of people, nonstop. And we ended up evacuating 10.2% of everyone that got evacuated out of Kabul.
Holy shit. So how many flights was that total? And where did you guys go from Kabul to where?
From Kabul to UAE for 8,911 of the personnel. And then about 3,200. We just got so good at it that the State Department guys on the ground were like, could you run some flights for us? And then we did.
Which is funny because the State Department doesn't seem too happy these days.
Yeah, with what you guys were doing.
Despite the fact that everything that's been done was, 1, with consent.
Yeah.
And 2, favors to them in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, we had our own ramp and hangar. Like ramp 9 was for us. So the idea, there are some journalists out there who have gone out of their way to make it seem like we were running some kind of a cowboy shop. But I mean, literally, the DOD and DOS were like, "Hey, you guys are doing so well. Why don't you just take this whole ramp?" So, whether it was, there's always different personalities involved in any government organization, but we were definitely completely aligned with the guys on the ground.
Why do you think the media turned and people on social media turned on Tim specifically for this? There was a famous quote that we've been tossing around the show here for the last couple weeks. This isn't the Tim Kennedy show. I forget who was the guy that said that. It was a
colonel.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Colonel Kleisner of the 82nd Airborne, who, this is just my opinion. I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody else, but he's a cunt.
Yeah.
So there we go.
What was the justification and the point of that by saying that to people? Like, I didn't understand, because you have people like yourselves who are willing to pay to go over there to help people for free. There's nothing that you gained out of this financially or anything otherwise. And you actually put your life on the line. I mean, 13 people ended up dying. What was the point of even saying shit like that?
Yeah. So what happened is, we had, the 12 of us kind of broke up into different functions. There were like 4 dudes that were always in Abu Dhabi. There were 4 dudes that were always, out running outside the gate. And then there were 4 of us that were running around in Kabul or going back and forth. So the 4 guys that were going out of the wire were Tim Kennedy and 3 other guys that I'm going to just be quiet with their names for now.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
All kinds of, but Tim Kennedy and 3 other guys that most people have never heard of and never will. And so those guys were rock stars. I mean, just absolute fucking rock stars. One of the dudes that got there before we arrived had been going 10 straight days by the time the government pulled everything. He lost 37 pounds because he didn't take the time to eat. He was just eating like a cracker here and there. And then even when we got him back to Abu Dhabi, it took him 2 days to be able to eat actual food because his stomach was so small, because he just worked so fucking hard saving lives. So the group was like, 4 of the baddest dudes you're ever going to meet running nonstop. And so we knew we were getting close to the end. And we knew there were 300 orphans that were in an orphanage that we wanted to get out. We knew that there were about 100 Christians holed up that would likely be killed when we left. And then there were some other folks that, just very candidly, the government wanted us to grab. And then there were another group of people that were the families of the air crews that had been flying these charter planes in and out. And so that was the big group of people that we went and picked out. And so I'm in the talk at this point, and Tim comes on the sat phone, and he's like, "We just got the orphans. We got them in the buses. The buses, by the way, we bought 7 buses. We just bought, we paid for them in American money that we brought over so that we could do this one big push." Right. And so, so we got everybody. It was like, it was like that moment, like winning the big game. Me and the other dude that are awake in the talk are like dancing a jig, going nuts, because like this is like the mother load. And we get them on base, and everything's good to go. And we're like, we're starting the process of, we're gonna search everybody. And we had already identified 30 American citizens. And then, I still don't know what happened. Like, none of us know exactly what happened. But, this colonel just decided that, like, these non-military, non-government people are not bringing these buses on. And so all this guy saw, because, the other 3 guys, even though they actually outranked Tim on this operation, all he saw was Tim Kennedy, and must have just thought, Tim's just here doing some cowboy shit. Long story short, Tim calls me, and he's like, what, like, this is what's happening. This guy's going to kick all of these buses out without even going through and checking for IDs. So I call Senator Tillis through Sarah Verardo to Tillis. Mm-hmm. Tillis calls a bunch of generals. Those generals call down to Kabul. By the time those generals called Kabul to fix it, that colonel had already booted them from the base.
Mm. Yeah, because
it's about 400 people, right?
Yeah, it was about 400 people, and
a little over, closer to 5.
And again, I'm going off of what we've seen in the media and on social media. Did they put them back outside the gates of the airport? Yeah. They did.
Yes.
Okay, so that was true.
Yes.
Okay, and then what happens to them? Do you go back out and get them later, or are they still there?
We were not able to regain contact with most of those people.
Man,
that's including the orphan children and stuff.
Correct.
Oh God.
So it went from like the best day out there to the absolute worst. It was soul crushing.
Right. I mean,
Like,
just to clear, and I'm not putting words in your mouth. This is my statement. I want to make that clear because Lieutenant Colonel Kleisner, that's Kleisner of the 82nd Airborne, wanted to have a dick measuring contest. There's probably a bunch of fucking dead orphan kids now, right?
Yeah.
I just want to spell out exactly what the fuck we're saying here.
Yeah.
Just for everybody's edification. Yeah. And if the kids were boys, they're worse than dead. They're getting raped, probably, because that's what they do there. So thanks a lot, guy. You really did it.
And with that, obviously we saw the suicide bomber attack the airport. Were you there and on the ground during that?
No. So here's the crazy shit that happened. Like the last flight the last time I was on the ground, I flew out those 400 people, and Tim was still on the ground, and our 4-person team was on the ground. And the plan actually had been that I was flying back later on that night to pick them up and another load for them to refit. And that bomb went off, and it changed everything. So the last time that I spoke with Tim, the bomb was right before the bomb went off. The bomb goes off, and then like it's total blackout. Like I don't hear from those guys. And we had been trying to figure out how they were going to get out, because we had heard, no more planes that aren't U.S. government planes are flying in here. So we got frozen out of landing. And then, I mean, like it was a long period of time of blackout, like 12 hours. And
shit.
In that period of time, I'm like, was Tim on the ground next to the explosion? Was he one of the guys injured? Was our team injured? And we were literally on the phone with a very well-known person that used to run a extremely large mercenary outfit, getting a helicopter so that we could go fly in and pull them out, when all of a sudden I get a message, hey, we're taking off to Qatar. And so, I hit him back like, oh, when are you getting to Qatar? And it was like, oh, we're in Qatar. Fucking Tim messaged us, but didn't make sure that it went through, on Signal. So our whole talk spent 12 hours, like literally coordinate, like, all right, we're going to go pull these guys out, or at least find out where they are, or go look for them, like getting ready to literally go on like a mission. And Tim just didn't make sure that the fucking signal blast went through. And he was safely in Qatar, but like while we were like, all right, trying to negotiate for a cheaper price on a helicopter. So yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. It was nuts. But at the same, I was like super happy at Tim that, Tim and the team were good to go. But then I was pissed like 5 seconds later,
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Did you hear the report? Because Dan, you had said this from your contacts that they did know about the suicide bomber.
Right.
They did know where he was. Did you hear that when you were there as well?
I did not hear that. I heard it later, but we were just running around on the ground. Like when I tell you that it actually is more mind-blowing to military people than non-military people. But when we landed on the ground, how usually like an airstrip is there's nothing on it. There's no trash. Everything is like, one plane at a time is moving. There were lanes for ground vehicles. I hopped off that plane, jumped into a vehicle with this guy that we'll call Sea Spray. And it's like, one of those M Gators that goes like 60 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. We're driving under moving airframes, like jumping over things. There's shit moving everywhere, multiple planes at once. The whole thing's being run by like one dude on a radio. It was crazy. And, I still remember like, landed on the strip, and the dude that's like running everything is this absolute badass amputee who's just like barking orders at everybody on the ground, like you move here, you are here, you're in this line, and like he basically was controlling, like everything that was happening on the ground, just running around, on his prosthetic. It was like the most badass thing. I mean, like it's like a movie, like this dude is just managing everything. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen, because normally the process is so controlled, and this was just the Wild West.
When you first got there and you saw how many people were at the gates, was it worse than you expected? Like, what was the feeling going in? Because we saw very limited images from the ground, which is odd. Like typically, there's a ton of journalists there and the shit's going out left and right. For whatever reason, maybe, I don't know, the left controls the media. We didn't see as much images as in the past during this. So how crazy was it, and how bad was it when you landed?
It's one of the worst, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I've never seen more desperation in a single place. And I think one of the things that hit me the most, I mean, like seeing how guys like Tim and the other 3 dudes, all of which, these are 4 dudes that have seen some shit, like really seen some shit. And they were like emotionally, like their souls were drained by what was occurring. The worst thing that anybody saw, and you'll hear this from almost anybody that was actually on the ground, is that everybody saw like the image of like the woman handing the baby up to the Marine, and the Marine dragging the baby over the side.
Yeah, with the barbed wire.
Yeah. So that happened a lot, but then like every once in a while, the Taliban, in the not too distance, would fire AK into a crowd just for the shit of it. And people, the crowd would freak out and everybody would surge. And a couple of times when that happened, people would like aggressively try to get their kids up, and they'd like press them into the barbed wire. And a couple times people literally thought maybe there were soldiers on the other side, so I'm just going to throw the kid over the wall. And on the other side of the wall was concertina. So like essentially newborn babies like hit the concertina, from above and bled out. And it was like, it was a bad fucking scene.
Jesus.
So like, I can't even imagine being that desperate, and I know, you as a dad, can you imagine, throwing, your child over a wall, over barbed wire? I mean, like, where do you have to be mentally to do that? But like to really give you like a sense for how bad it was, like, there was a time where our team was heading to a link up, and we got there maybe 5 minutes late, and the family was there stacked and completely decapitated.
Jesus.
And so that's what our guys came up on. And then they just had to keep moving to the next target, because, there was a small window where we could get people out. And so, the 4 dudes, Tim and the other 3 guys, like, when I don't get super emotional, the deal, Ross, like, Dan, like, no matter what you say on social, somebody hates you for it. So I can't really be hurt anymore. But that was one of the few times, like, when people started talking shit about Tim, like, I wanted to murder people, because they have no idea what those guys went through to save a shitload of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually don't I hardly ever respond to anybody that's trolling me directly, because unless it's super funny, then I'm like, that's pretty fucking funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Or if they're just saying something totally ignorant, but I don't know. I see red when people fuck with my buddies. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's absurd, and all of the groups, we were known as Task Force 6-8. Chad named the task force after Isaiah 6:8 in the Bible. Here am I, send me. So we were Task Force 6-8. My friend Jason Redman was running Task Force Pineapple. Everybody calls them the Pineapple Express.
Redman is Ray Care's former partner. I guess they still do work together, but he's a former Navy SEAL.
Yep.
Yeah.
Met him, great guy.
He's a good dude.
Great guy, absolutely great guy. And so there were several groups, and there probably 5 or 6 smaller groups that were targeting people that were in Helmand and some of the southern provinces that they maybe evacuated 30 to 40 each, but they were much harder grabs than the grabs near Kabul. Everybody was just working together, trying to get this stuff done. We were sharing target lists,
but not with the Taliban. Right?
Not with the Taliban. No,
because that wouldn't make any fucking sense, would it?
we were not sharing anything with the Taliban.
Jesus fucking Christ! Well, we all know what that's about now. I mean, look, that Kleisner dude. I don't know what his deal was or what his motivations were. Maybe it was dick measuring. Maybe it was something else. Who knows? But
I'm trying to give. I don't know what he was told. There's a rumor that that state told him not to take them in, but that's counter to what we thought. It's entirely possible that he had different guidance or maybe, he had also seen some shit over the course of 10 days. So maybe he was just seeing red and wanted to keep his people safe. Maybe he knew about the threat of the suicide bomber and was worried. I try super hard not to judge people in fog of war situations, but honest to God, I don't get it. Even to me, it was at least throw them in a caged area. And
yeah, there's a million ways to handle that without sending a bunch of children back out to the fucking Taliban.
We had 30 American citizens. At least let us pull the American citizens, if nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, my understanding is from some communications I've had with other folks is what your rumor says, which is that I don't know if it reached Colonel Kleisner or not, but I know 100% that the State Department, at least according to the fucking Pentagon, because I've seen the goddamn text messages and emails, State Department told them to fucking stop that shit. Right? This is our operation, blah, 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 dick swinging and all that stuff. And then, when we piece everything together and see that the State Department gave a list of names to the Taliban, and now you see 200 people come out yesterday, like we predicted, it seems more and more likely that what we predicted is what we've heard from behind the scenes is what's happening, that the Afghan government was incompetent. In exchange for them limiting the heroin trade, we fucking funded their government. And the Taliban came, they knew that, they came and took over, and they're like, hey, if you want this thing to go well, you're going to fucking fund our government now. And that's exactly what the fuck is going to happen. We're just going to be sending pallets of cash over there. And then that's why the administration and Biden were so confident that we were going to get all the Americans out, even after giving a list of names of the Taliban. I know he is senile as shit, but his chief of staff is not. And the fact that they did that, they gave this list of names over, means they had some assurances that those people weren't going to be hurt. And there's no way the fucking Taliban just said, oh, yeah, we'll do it for you. No big deal, for free.
Yeah,
Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? So basically, we've ransomed our own people back from the Taliban again. This is 2 Democratic administrations in a row that has funded terrorism. The end.
Yeah.
That's hard stop right there. 2 Democratic administrations in a row that funded terrorism. Not that fucking the Trump deal that everybody in the left likes to bring up now. Oh, we fucking, he's the one that made the deal. Okay, cool, man. I mean,
yeah.
Did he? Is this the deal he made?
Yeah,
It doesn't look like it. I mean, I've read that deal. It doesn't look like this.
No.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with pulling out of Afghanistan, but I don't understand why we did it in the sequence that we did. Why not hold on to all of these things, get people out, and then pull the military back?
Oh, you mean like Bagram?
Yeah.
Did we shut down Taji and Anaconda before we pulled out of Iraq? I mean, what the fuck are we talking about here? This is the dumbest shit. This is my issue with the whole thing. You're a fucking paratrooper too. You know how this is what we do. Even after this all got fucked up, we jump in or land or whatever, secure an airfield, Rangers push out, right? And then fucking JSOC starts to conduct operations, maybe with the support of Ranger. That's fucking, Milley was in Panama. He knows how this goes. That's exactly what happened down there, right? We did this exact same thing fucking 30 some years ago. So the fact
we were worried the whole time that it didn't even have to be, the Taliban as a collective. Like one dude with a mortar, with a well-placed mortar, there's only one runway in Kabul. That's it. Now we're screwed. Now there's no way to take off.
That's what I expected. As soon as that suicide bomb went off, I'm like, the next thing you're going to see is mortar fire followed by a ground assault, right? Because that's what I would do. That's what they did in Benghazi too. I mean, this is textbook shit. I know it's textbook because we fucking taught them how to do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Back in the 70s, 80s, and I guess even the last 20 years.
But there had to have been some money that changed hands to
100%
to stop that.
Not that changed. Don't use the past tense. The Biden administration has committed to funding the Taliban government in Afghanistan. There's no question about that. There's no other way that they would have brokered that deal. And there's also no other way that the Taliban would be able to stand up a government there. They don't have any money. Unless they're being funded by a bunch of fucking rich party boys that live in Qatar, which is also possible, because that's what they've been funded by for the last 20 years since we shut down some of the other networks. It's rich people in countries that we also fund. Like they live in condos downtown in fucking Dubai. And it's members of the Saudi royal family and shit like that fund all this stuff. And we keep pretending because we need oil, I guess, that any of this is okay. 83% of the primary education facilities in Saudi Arabia are madrasas. That means death to America. That's what they teach there. It's fucking Wahhabist bullshit. And we keep pretending. Look, man, we're getting exactly what we fucking deserve right now, in my opinion. The individual American doesn't deserve this, but we collectively have fucking made our own bed here by tolerating this horse shit for too goddamn long.
Nick, you've been on the show before. We got some sponsors that put this shit wagon on the air. First and foremost, ghostbed.com/drinking bros. The Labor Day sale of the 40% off bundle package is still available. I don't know if the IT guy fell asleep or is dead inside of his office. Either way, it is not my problem. You can still go and collect those savings. All you have to do is get an adjustable base and a mattress, and then you can put whatever you want with that. Pillows, sheets, the topper, whatever you want. You get 40% off the bundle package when you bundle it together with the adjustable base. Now, if you just want a singular item like a pillow or some sheets, that's 30% off with the promo code Drinking Bros at checkout. And as always, they've got a 36-month pay-as-you-go program. No interest there if you have decent credits. So all the deals that I just mentioned can be punched right into the gooch of that. You can walk out of there with a brand new bedroom set for around $38 a month there at ghostbed.com/drinking bros. Take advantage of it. Still up, kids. It's all still up. Next up, we got liquidiv.com. My God, man. I've had one of these every day of my life, I think, for 4 years, it feels like. Start the morning off with coffee. Boom. And then I get a huge jug of water. You'll probably see it sitting on my desk. Put some liquid IV in it, and I'm off to the races, man. That is the only thing that gets me going in the morning, and it rehydrates me as fast as I possibly can. It's pretty much double. So what you do is you get a 16 ounce of water, or higher. You can do whatever you want. Pop in one of these fucking packets, and boom. You are rehydrated faster than you could possibly imagine. I was hung over to Buddy's house. And I hit them up. I know I've said this before, but I hit them up and I said, hey, dude, I believe in your product. I would love to have it on the show. We try to only sell things that we believe in on the show, and Liquid IV is definitely one of them. It's my favorite. For real, man. You can pop it in the morning before workouts, before you run, and it definitely gets rid of your hangovers. Holy Jesus, does this get rid of your hangovers? All you have to do here is you go to liquidiv.com, use the promo code Drinking Bros at checkout, and you get 25% off. Now, you can also grab Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco. Or, like I just said, you can get the 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the promo code Drinking Bros at checkout. That is 25% off anything you order when you get better hydration today using promo code Drinking Bros at liquidiv.com. I get it, man. There's a Costco probably next to you, but you're not going to get the 25% off savings. So just go to liquidiv.com. Promo code Drinking Bros. 25% off. It's cheaper than buying it at Costco. Last but not least, we got purejerkyco.com. Finest jerky in the land. We have partnered up with a local jerky company here in Austin, Texas, and this was sent in by a friend. Best beef jerky I've ever had in my entire life. It's amazing, and I've made the challenge. Hey, dude, you can slap me in the face if you've had a better jerky in your life. The only thing I ask is give me that jerky. Give me a jerky that beats purejerkyco.com. Famous chef here in Austin's opened about 6 restaurants. He's the one that made the recipe for this, and they spend extra money on the beef. It's great. Just go there. You can get a 4-pack for $25. You can get a 8-pack for $50. And then the box, that box that's always on my desk, that beautiful wood box there, $70, and I don't even know how many packets are in that goddamn thing, but best in the biz. Promo code Drinking Bros for 10% off there, and they have a subscription. I finally signed up, and it goes directly to my house because I was tired of it getting sent to the office and everybody else eating it before I got a chance to. Love, love, love purejerkyco.com. Promo code Drinking Bros gets you 10% off. You're going to want that subscription. I can promise you that. Thanks, Nick. Nick, in your opinion, or I guess your best guess, how many people died over there? Because I haven't seen a number or a guesstimate. And, you were on the ground there, and I'm sure it was hard, because there was so much chaos going on. What would be your guess? Because I haven't heard anything in the fucking media.
Man, it's so hard to tell. I don't know.
Thousands, tens of thousands.
I would say. My guess would certainly be over 1,000. Around Kabul. The Taliban absolutely were targeting certain people.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just be guessing. It would just be a guess.
So after you get out of there, right? You were there for what, 4 days? You said.
We were there in total about 10 days back and forth, but our whole team was on the ground for 10 days. Tim and I got there about halfway through.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. And when you finally got out of there, and I'm assuming you called your wife, Susie, what was that conversation like, and how exhausted were you?
It was bad. It was real bad. Because I do so much film stuff now, I actually set up a camera and just kind of did like a Dear Diary kind of thing. It was soul crushing, man. Like it just, it was depressing because I know what America is capable of, and I wanted to see that to help these people get out. And, I don't think anybody expected the country to collapse as quickly as it did. Or maybe some people did. I didn't expect it to be that fast, but, Biden definitely made changes to do better. We could have stayed another 2 weeks. We could have put more troops on the ground. We could have gotten the lion's share of our allies out. And I think we probably could have done it without a significant amount of bloodshed. The Taliban, they knew the rules of engagement. Let me put it that way. They did not want a fist fight with us, but they also were very comfortable letting us know that, we weren't in control anymore. So this is like anecdotally, and this was not our pull. So, but it was folks that we met on the ground. These guys were pulling a woman out that was an activist. And she said something back to the Taliban or whatever, and they murked her right on the hood of the car that she was about to get pulled out of. And there wasn't anything that those guys could do about it because they didn't do anything to them.
Jesus.
So,
man.
So it was like but that wasn't our group. That was a different group.
Right.
But it wasn't like this friendly interaction on the ground where it's like, Taliban, America, we're good now. That wasn't it. It was like smirks and, like I know what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do kind of environment.
Did you just go home and sleep after that? Like how exhausted were you?
Bro, I actually, like, Tim and I brought 300. Tim and I and Chad and this recon Marine Joe Robert escorted 150 refugees to Albania, and this was all done with State Department approval and with an NGO. And they're like, Albania basically bought out a resort, like a beautiful resort on the Mediterranean, and they're all living in like these resort, like, you know, this resort for the next year while America processes these SIV applications. So we brought 150. We were kind of the advon, and then we received 150 more. So we were meeting with like officials in Albania, the Albanian consulate. Then we drove from Albania to Athens, Greece, to meet with some NGOs and the consulate there to talk about Greece holding some refugees, which hopefully that occurs. It looks good. So it's like Kennedy and I, you know, basically like international men of mystery in a situation that we are not remotely qualified for, but like making it happen.
That's a beautiful drive, though.
It is.
Yeah, but did you sleep on it? Like you had to.
Yeah.
Like your body had to have given out at that.
Like, what other opportunity are you going to have in your life to drive from Tirana to fucking Athens? And you just slept through the whole thing.
It was great. No, we barely slept the whole trip. I mean, the whole time that we were either in Abu Dhabi or in Kabul, 1 to 2 hours a night tops, because there was so much to do. And then we got a little bit of sleep in Albania. You know, but I mean, even Albania, it was like we landed at 5:30 in the morning. We had to make, you know, we met with the consulate. We had to make sure that like everybody was good to go, that they were safe, that we weren't handing them off in a bad situation, linked up with the NGO. By the time Tim and I got to bed, it was 7:30 in the morning. We had a 9 a.m. meeting with the consulate. And then the consulate called and was like, hey, can we push this to 9:30? Yes. So we got like another 15, 20 minutes. But then that whole day we had tons of stuff to do. And it was nonstop, man. By the time I landed in the States, I was totally broken. But this asshole sitting next to me, Hollywood, meets me at the gate and sticks a camera in my face and interviews me for an hour and a half. Because he was like, I'm like, can we just do it tomorrow, man? Can we do it after I sleep? And he was like, no, I need to do it now, because tomorrow you put that West Point shine bullshit on it. I want to hear the actual truth.
That sounds like somebody I know, actually. I think I know who you're talking about now. Good dude, but yeah, he definitely said that for
sure. What did your wife say when you came home?
She was proud, man. She was proud. And you know, Sue, she's not, she's English, Dan. So like, not a lot of human emotion most of the time.
Yeah.
You know,
they're not allowed. It was illegal back in the day. You can't, don't hunt the king's deer. Don't show any emotion, period.
When I say she was super proud, I got like a nod, you know, like at the end of a movie nod amongst like the dudes like Schwarzenegger and whoever, like,
yeah,
you know, I got that. I was like, oh shit, you know, are you all right? Like, I've never seen you this emotional. But yeah, she was super proud of everybody, and you know, it was weird. It was weird, especially as an older dude. You know, when I was 20 nothing, you didn't think about these kinds of things. It was just like, you know, you thought of yourself as being old, but you know, when those 13 kids got killed, and I don't say that with disrespect, but I'm 44. I have a 20-year-old stepson. Mm-hmm. You know, all my kids are teenagers except for my little guy. Like, when everyone that was killed was 19, 20, 21, like, to me, you know, those are kids, and like, you know, they haven't been married, you know, they don't have kids, they haven't had their second career and figured out what they're actually good at in life, and like it just fucking sucks.
We all know the risk, right? And it's something that we deal with, and something that we come to terms with, each person in their own way, and we come to terms with it collectively. And we're more than happy to make that sacrifice if necessary. But when you waste it, when it's unnecessary, goddamn, that makes me fucking mad. It's the most precious resource on earth. It's like I mean, think about what America is. The first experiment in true liberty in the history of humanity, and what it took to get us here, the idea, and how dangerous that idea is. I mean, believe it is fucking dangerous to just let people do what they want to do sometimes. And that makes other countries upset, and sometimes you have to fuck them up to do that, right? We all understand what it takes to make this country what it is. At least the people that serve the country understand what it takes. It is the most precious resource that this country has. Fuck and oil or fucking even our consumers or any of that bullshit. Is the American warfighter is the most precious resource we have. Imagine you're in a desert and you've got a cup of water and somebody just pours it out on the ground in front of you. That's how people should feel right now.
I just wish that our government would approach these wars as an actual sacrifice instead of a casual experiment. Because I honestly don't think that the people sitting in Washington, for the most part, are thinking about the fact that they are gambling with, people's sons and daughters. I think those days are gone. Like when was the last time that we had like an end state, for a war? I think it was the first Gulf War with Bush Sr., where it was like, this is what winning looks like. I want you to go do this. Oh, don't you want to go into Iraq? No, I want to do this. That's what we're there to do. We're going to do that. Then everyone's going to leave. Like, great.
Yeah. Imagine what the United States would look like right now if in 2002 in Tora Bora, we had fucking dropped a goddamn JDAM on Osama bin Laden's head and it said, hey, you know what? We're out. And then the next time one of those assholes popped up, we drop a JDAM on him too, right? You can be the world's police without fucking being on patrols all day, right? It's the 21st century.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These guys are using burner phones and hiding in caves and shit. You don't send fucking 150,000 troops into a country to find a guy like that. You bribe people, you find secondary and tertiary assets, locate them just like they did with bin Laden. They did it once they decided to find this motherfucker, it took a year and a half before Rob put 2 bullets in the guy's brain?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, man. We were fucking around that whole time. Unbelievable.
My dad's a Vietnam vet, and he basically called everything that has happened to us in like 2002, 2003. Like, he was like, we're going to go over there. We're going to try to nation build in Afghanistan. It's impossible. We don't understand the culture. We don't even think, we can't even get Republicans and Democrats to agree on something. We think we're going to get like 27 disparate tribes to sign
speak
up
13 languages, by the way.
To sign up for a Western government, where women have right, and then Iraq, he lost his shit. He was like, what are we doing? And at the time, again, I was young then. I was like, no, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah. And it's like, everything is played out exactly how he said it. And it's like, God damn, man.
Yeah, we don't pay a lot of attention to, the Army has this organization called CALD, Center for Army Lessons Learned, right? And it's part of it's kind of a part of the War College, and all the red cells we do, all the BDA, battle damage assessment, all of the after action reports from not just individual operations but entire campaigns go there, including equipment and everything. And smart people, sometimes smart, sometimes not so smart, go over it, but it's a repository for all this stuff. There's literally an organization inside the military just for that. But we can't remember shit that happened 2 fucking weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of these fucking dystopian novels, by the way, they weren't fucking lesson plans. They were warning signs. And now we're just falling deeply, deeply into this trap. And it's honestly, I was talking to Rob O'Neill about this yesterday. And I would like to hear your thoughts because I know you're a big historian, Constitution guy. I don't think the Founding Fathers imagined a society where people would so willingly surrender freedom. You know what I mean? Like Ben Franklin made the statement about anybody that surrenders their liberty for temporary security deserves neither, right? I mean, that's a pretty famous quote. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he said that, and I don't think anybody would have been like, fuck you, old man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've been like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I just don't think they could have conceived of how people's brains work today because liberty had never been a thing before. It only existed when you fucking earned it, right?
Yep.
Just like that Phil Jackson quote. I've said this like 4 times in the last 2 weeks. You're only a success in the moment you perform a successful act. And I would say you're only kind in the moment you perform a kind act. And you're only free in the moment where you're defending freedom. That's it.
I think that a few things have happened that have changed our society, and I don't know what that means for the future. I think that life is so good, right? This is the wealthiest that any nation's ever been. The healthcare available, the opportunities available. I know, people complain about things like minimum wage and all those things, and there, you can certainly have all those arguments, but essentially, like, any person can now start a business online, can start a podcast, can build an audience. Like, anybody can find opportunity. And I think because life is so good, we've become so soft that people are no longer thinking about things like, are we free? Or, what is the meaning of being a free person? Or is our government living up to our constitutional values? Have I read the Federalist Papers? These are not things that I think are happening anymore. And now it's just about, am I safe? Right? Is my shit protected? And you look at, even the stuff with the vaccine, and to be super clear, like, I'm vaccinated. I think people should be vaccinated. But I mean, the fear mongering around all this, it's been insane. And to the point where you have people that want to, like, vaccinate people at gunpoint almost. That's fear. And fear like this, I think, comes when you haven't been exposed to, like, any danger, any trials and tribulations. Like, the more hard things that you do, the more hard things you have to live through, the less fear you have, because, things are manageable. Like, things are manageable. And so, when you think about, less than 1% of people have served in the military since the war on terror started. And not that the military is the be all end all, I mean, in any way, shape, or form, but I think that there is now a distance in society from the war, right? We don't raise taxes because there's a war going on. We just build debt. If you don't want to know a veteran or a veteran's family, you don't have to, because they're such a small part of society. And so, there's now a distance. So who's the only people sacrificing are the veteran families, the veteran community. It's just easy to just be like, yeah, like, everything's fine, and as soon as something enters your world, like, as soon as you're in danger in some way, shape, or form, then it's a crisis.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's societal myopia. Everybody's short-sighted because, and it's ultimately a problem with leadership. The only way that you win a war, and I mean win a war, I don't mean fucking spike the football and go home. I mean win the goddamn war, is if everybody is pulling on the same side of the rope in the same direction, right? In World War II, fucking women entered the workplace for the first time, right? And I mean, we were lucky for that, to be honest. Let's be real about that. But women entered the workforce for the first time and did jobs that I couldn't imagine most women doing today, to be honest. Yeah. Frankly, not that they can't do it. You can do whatever the fuck you want, obviously, but people just don't choose to do that. This is, if you listen to Peterson and about the way people choose their career paths based on, a variety of different things, women would typically not go on into a fucking steel assembly line. Yeah. It's atypical for that to happen. Everybody got involved because they knew the cost. And the thing you said about tax is actually pretty poignant. You have to make war cost for everybody, not just for the people fighting it. Otherwise, it will go on for fucking ever. Yeah. And it has. Here it is. And if we think this is over now, come on, man. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here.
It's not over.
I mean, what really just happened, and I said this 2 weeks ago on our fake news show, what really happened is that we just lost the Cold War. We thought it ended in 91. We thought it was over back then. But Russia and China were like, all right, we'll just regroup. Yeah. These assholes will fuck it up sooner or later. And goddamned if we didn't. We made the same mistake Russia did. Not only did we think we beat them, right? We went over and fucked up just like they did. Yeah. And now here they are. They between them and China, they're going to capitalize on about $2.5 to $3.5 trillion worth of resources over the next decade.
No.
Yep.
No.
China's a real problem. I don't. Russia is an annoyance, and they definitely are. They're definitely in Afghanistan already.
Mm.
They were there when we were there. But China is going to. China doesn't have scruples about the immorality of how the Taliban operate. They just want the minerals. They just want the opium, and they're going to get it. And there isn't going to be anything that we can do about it. And they are, slowly getting more and more influence, throughout Africa, now, throughout the Middle East, soon Europe. And Ross, you and I have talked about this in the past about, what's the biggest programming tool that exists for the population? It's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, who owns most of Hollywood now?
It's China.
It's
China, and it's only going to continue. And now, you see movies being made directly for them, by them. I mean, the John Cena thing was fucking insane to me. Jesus Christ.
I love John Cena now.
All of it. The NBA.
At least he's honest about chugging Chinese dong, man.
Yeah.
Everybody else is lying about it. At least he's little dong do, whatever the fuck he said.
Yeah. Whatever the fuck he said. But I mean, you even take like Space Jam 2. They got into it with the NBA about 2 years ago with Daryl Morey, and they kissed their ass, hoping they would get the NBA back and basketball back, and they still didn't want to release Space Jam 2, and they said, fuck you. No one in Hollywood said a goddamn word. They were like, all right, great.
Yep.
Hopefully you'll take our next one. Will you take our next one? And that's only going to persist. And yeah, they're just slowly creeping into all facets of our lives and other countries' lives. And it's about the long game for those motherfuckers, which we don't have. In a society, especially in America, it's, 30 seconds on a phone, 10 seconds on a video. We don't have the fucking patience for the long game like those guys do. At age fucking 2, it is, congratulations, wait till you're 90, all right? You're working from 2 to 90, and it's going to be the long game.
Our system of government is not set up for the long game.
No.
A peaceful transition of power every 4 years. And what company would you have a great 4 years and replace the CEO just because his time was up?
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking stupid.
You didn't replace Phil Knight at Nike after 4 years.
And
this is going well. Let's bring in somebody else.
And what other company would your mid-level management be your mid-level management for 40 years at a time? Yeah. But your CEO changes every 4 years. That is exactly backwards of how that fucking works. Look at Seth MacFarlane. Whatever you want to say about how much of a pussy he's become lately, him and The Simpsons figured that shit out. Every 3 years, the entire writing team got switched out.
Yeah.
But the CEOs didn't change. The players didn't change. Because they knew they were the ones with the fucking plan. That would be like Evan and the guys at Black Rifle letting their employees stay on forever, but every 3 years they hire somebody else to replace themselves. That's fucking stupid. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not saying that we should have a fucking dictator or anything, but if we should, probably. Anyways. Yeah.
Well, I do think one thing that's changed is the State Department is not the same entity it used to be. It used to be career diplomats that really knew what they were doing. We've had a great purge of that over the years. There's more of a rotation out every time there's a president now than there used to be. And so there isn't even like that continuous foundation. Like, look, I don't care how smart you are. You as an individual are never going to know the intricacies of every country on the planet. That's why we have these diplomats. That's why we have, the 3-letter organizations. If those people are changing out and we're not respecting people because of political affiliations or whatnot, I mean, it's problematic. And I think you can't play the long game if we don't all agree on, some basic things that have to continue to happen.
Right.
I think
even to form the country, the Continental Congress would not even bring it to the table to vote on sending the Declaration of Independence to England unless it was a unanimous vote. Mm-hmm. And it's a weird way, like the way the situation played out. South Carolina had to be basically blackmailed into it. And Pennsylvania, they fucking sent this Amish dude that was against war off to fuck off so Ben Franklin could vote in his place.
Yep.
New York abstained. They didn't even vote because New York didn't want to fucking secede from England. But it was important to them that the enemy knew that we are all on the same side, regardless of what the reality of the situation was. And that's how you win wars, by the way. That's why a bunch of fucking farmers with muskets were able to take on the largest army ever assembled at the time, right? The most technologically sophisticated army and navy ever assembled. And a bunch of fucking farmers and French dudes whipped their ass. Like, the only way that's happening, you can have a giant fist and be strong as fuck. And if you punch somebody like this, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to fucking knock them out. But if you fucking close your fist, you will knock that motherfucker out. You know what I mean? And
you sound like Coach K right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, he did start out at the military academy.
He did,
right?
yeah. He did.
He did.
Not that I would never be allowed in that place, but but neither would any of Trump's appointees apparently, because they're all getting fired now.
They're all gone. Yeah, they're all gone.
Yeah, they're all gone. One thing I wanted to clear up here, Nick, as well, was there's been some backlash of why Tim was posting on social media when he was on the show a few weeks ago. Here's what I had told him, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. Is I had said, because even Special Forces guys have come up to us and be like, man, fucking Tim, just doing this for his own glory and blah, 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 blah. I have the opposite reaction to it, and I told Tim on the show, I said, look, if we don't have somebody there taking photos of what's going on, how the fuck do we even know what's real and what's not real, because we're not seeing it. Therefore, if there is a guy like Tim who is willing to put himself out there and take like the selfie he took with all those people in the background on the fucking landing strip, to me that was the first shot that I saw where I was like, oh fuck, there's a lot of people here, and because I didn't see it from the media, I saw it from Tim Kennedy on his fucking Instagram. So that's what my takeaway is from it. What is yours? Is it the same thing?
So there's two pieces of it. The first thing is when we are in the pictures, people believe that it's real.
Yes,
because whether people like me, like Tim, like Chad, we're pretty honest people, and like this is what's happening. So you see Tim Kennedy on a plane with 600 people, it's like, oh shit, this is a real thing. The second thing is there are a lot of refugees coming to the States, right? And there are other operations that need to be made, and none of these things are free. And so, we stood up a nonprofit and called SaveOurAllies.org, and not, no one's getting paid off of this. There's no salaries. This is purely for operations and refugees. We raised a lot of money because we posted those pictures, because Tim tagged SaveOurAllies.org, because I tagged it, because Chad tagged it. And that money is funding all of the things that we had to pay for to do these things. And so, the other three guys on the ground team, no one knows who they are. No one really can know who they are. Like, they don't have audiences, so that leaves like Sarah, me, Chad, and Tim obviously has the biggest voice by a long shot. Mm-hmm. So if we want to continue, so, if you guys saw, the State Department and the government is officially going to be partnering with private organizations. We are becoming the focal point to help all private organizations. So our vision isn't just to we have to own this shit. Like, we're trying very hard to make sure what usually happens with veteran nonprofits doesn't happen here. We want one point of contact. Like, you need money for this. All right, here it is. You need money for that. Here it is. These refugees, most refugees are only going to get $2,500 from the government and 6 months of Medicaid, and then they're on their own. Where do you want their support group to be?
Right.
We need to get people integrated into society. So, we're creating a budget for that. So it's two pieces. One, it's, we want it when Tim posts, he wants to make sure people know this is what's really happening. This is what's going on. And the other piece is we have future operations that we have to pay for, and all of this shit is incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
Just to put it in perspective, we got, great deals, in Europe. Basically, for 25 euros a day, we can take care of a refugee. And NGOs have stood up and taken care of some of these things. But if you think about let's just say 1,000 people times 25 euros per person per day. That's $18 million. If the State Department doesn't come in and handle that, who's feeding these people?
Right.
And so, like, this is a real problem that we're trying to get ahead of. We're trying to make sure that people don't come to America and find solace in high risk areas, like maybe the wrong mosque.
Right.
We want people to, like, hey, here's some training. Can we, we're bringing a group of NGOs together in DC next week from Tuesday till Thursday, trying to figure out who can help in all these different areas, like who can help with education, who can help with employment, who has housing, can we connect with, Airbnb is being very generous right now. Like, can we connect with those people? How deep is that donation going to go? We want people to get into society and succeed and not fall into, potentially dangerous habits.
Yeah, because I mean, look, obviously we have a personal relationship, and we know you guys, and you have, wives and families and all that stuff, and you have many other streams of income. This is clearly not one of them. And to go over there and to accuse you guys and Tim Kennedy of making this about Instagram and shit like that, hey man, that's a really goddamn expensive selfie. To fly yourself to Kabul and just to get one on the tarmac and be like, hey man. So anybody wants to talk shit, congratulations. Why don't you get on a fucking plane and go over there? Speaking of your other sources of income here, tell us about your media company and everything that you're doing right now.
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, a large company came in and bought a huge chunk of Ranger Up. And so, I worked for those guys for a year, great guys, but, I've been in the t-shirt business for a long time, and I started thinking about, like, what do I really like doing? Like, I really like making video content. I spent a lot of my time helping small businesses, just, like donating my time. I was like, I really like these two things. I like creative works and I like helping other people succeed. And so, I came up with the idea for Diesel Jack Media, and talked to Hollywood sitting next to me, who you and I, worked with on Range 15.
Hollywood Herd, best in the biz, dude.
Best in the biz. Convinced him to come kind of be the dude in charge of all video production. Brought on another guy, Albert So, who's worked in agencies before. And, kicked off this agency February 17th, 2020, which great timing,
perfect.
Probably couldn't have chosen better timing. And
or 2008, just right before that.
Yeah. So, yeah, like we started, and then like COVID hit, and it was like, well, that was fun. But believe it or not, things went really well. And I hired all my old Ranger Up employees because the VC guys were like, hey man, look, these dudes aren't loyal to us. We know it. If we lay them off, will you hire them? I'm like, I don't think I can legally answer that, but I would consider it. And then they laid them all off, and I hired them.
Yeah.
And have built a pretty awesome team here. So we help businesses basically take it to the next level.
Awesome. Speaking of which, Hollywood Herd here, I'm gonna go ahead and give him my drinking bro of the week. About a week and a half ago, we did a cast watch with Jesse and Jack and I, Jack Mandeville, and I hadn't seen the movie in a few years, and I was like, oh my god, dude, I still don't know how we pulled that movie off for that budget. Especially with all the shit going on in it. And one guy was with us the entire time, and it was Hollywood Herd. And I fucking love that guy more than life itself. But I would sit in production meetings with him, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is or what's going on. When you guys asked for that goddamn ring out in the forest, the UFC ring, holy shit. I was trying to remember the cost of that ring, because there was...
it was a lot.
Was it like 15 grand or something? Because I remember the guy showing up to pick up the ring, and they literally asked if we had slaughtered pigs or wild boars on it. There was so much blood.
Yeah.
And I said no, and they're like, you're going to have to pay for this. And I go, all right, let me go to tell these fucking guys. And so I told you, and I said this on that watch along. I was like, because you were my business guy behind the scenes. I worked the most with you truthfully. And business-wise, making these decisions all along. You guys broke every rule of filmmaking, and the film was still the highest-grossing independent movie of 2016, which is fucking nuts to me.
Well, I mean, it's like, don't tell me what to do, bro.
Yeah,
Hey,
look, in filmmaking, though, it's like, holy shit.
I just spoke with the guys at Amazon 2 weeks ago. It is still the only independent film ever to go to number 1 on Amazon.
Yes, to this day, and it was there for like 12 straight days or 13, something crazy. But who kept The Ring? I was trying to. Was it Tim or Randy Couture? Did somebody keep that? Because we were like, well, fuck it. If you're gonna charge us.
It must have been Randy Couture because I chased down everybody that tried to steal props.
Yeah,
like a badger.
Well, half of that shit was promised out to people who had fucking helped fund the goddamn movie in the first place.
Yeah. Correct, but somebody stole it, including the dick that was ripped off.
Yeah, that was like $7,000 goddamn dollars.
Dude, it was the most expensive dick in the history of Hollywood.
Well, sure. I don't know. I mean, Harvey Weinstein's is going to end up being pretty expensive.
But yeah, somebody was trying to sell all the props and had stolen the props or something.
Of course they were. It's a bunch of rat fucking military dudes. Of course they were fucking stealing shit.
No, it wasn't. Apparently, it's like this, this woman pays people like on the crew to basically like grab stuff, like. But it's like she doesn't get it until it gets thrown away. So these guys like throw it away and then immediately take it out. It's like super shady. But anyway, like I was like, I got crazy aggressive for no reason. Ross was making fun of me about it. Like, just let it go. I'm like, fuck that. Like these are our props, and I got them all back. The only ones I still don't know where they are our guns.
Shit.
What were they, like airsoft guns or some shit?
No, they were real.
No, they were real guns.
They were real agency arms Glocks.
Yep.
And like
they were expensive.
We're gonna have to edit that out.
Yeah, we may not want to tell people there's a bunch of fucking guns you guys bought out on the streets in Los Angeles, probably, right?
No,
they were stolen.
They were rendered Hollywood safe. So they filled the chambers with, but we still wanted them back. Like we all wanted, our Glock for like the mantle or whatever.
Yeah.
It would have been cool. But somebody walked away with that shit.
We didn't have any of it, because I mean, I know there was Randy Couture's head, which was very expensive because we had to.
I got that back. That's in storage.
Oh, you got it. Okay, good. But
I got that.
He had to go into full, they had to do the cast and the whole thing for that goddamn thing.
So no shit. I have like a Connex full of like random range 15. We should do something with it at some point, like charity or whatever. But like I have boxes and boxes of like, like the extra uniforms.
Yeah.
Still with blood on them, boots, like, like just random shit.
I mean,
because everybody was like, yeah, Nick, just take this stuff. And then it was like, I don't have a warehouse anymore. I couldn't bring myself to throw it away because I'm like, this is kind of historical. So I have like a 20 by 10 full of range 15 bullshit.
That's awesome. I even watching it, I was like, I still love that movie. It's one of the few that you start with this script, and I think it was the intention of what it was supposed to be, and it ended up pretty close to what Jared had envisioned from the beginning of that. And
I've still got the original Zone 15 script from like 2013 or some shit.
Yeah.
There's a story that we can only tell offline about that one, but Nick knows.
I do. My best friend.
Yeah.
My best friend.
God damn it, man. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Nick Palmisano on Facebook, Dieseljack Media on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm in all the shit. I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere. I'm gonna. Today's the day, by the way. I'm gonna unblock you from Instagram. So about a year and a half ago, I've told this story. I've told the story on the show. Nick is a diehard New England Patriots fan. I am a diehard Falcons fan. I was getting tagged so many times in the 28-3 post. I physically couldn't take it anymore. Like I would wake up every morning and there was a tag on there.
But it wasn't from me.
It wasn't you.
It was people tagging me. Like, have you talked to Ross this morning?
Correct. Yeah. And every March 3rd or 3/28, I would get tagged in that. It never ended. Finally, I had to block you on Instagram, and I'm like, all right, great. I think enough time has passed. that I can unblock you safely today. And I said jokingly before we came on, I go, dude, I was at that game. It was one of the worst days of my life. And you go, hey, man, after what I went through over there, if that was one of the worst days of your life, you got it pretty fucking good. And you're absolutely right, man. We don't realize how great we have it here. I'm sure after you came back, even more so. We were very appreciative for what you and Tim and those guys have done, not only for the people over there, but just our country in general. Thank you for coming on today. We greatly appreciate it, Nick.
Yeah, man. No, it was my pleasure. And I want to close by saying I have said many times that you were the only guy that wasn't giving me bullshit texting at the halftime for that Super Bowl, telling me, the Pats suck. You were the only dude.
Yep.
That's why I didn't talk shit after we won to you. I talked shit to like 1,000 other dudes, but not to you.
I knew better. As an Atlanta fan, I knew better. And I was like, because we still haven't won. And I was like, I'm going to wait till the end of this game. And then, the implosion happened. But
I've seen it happen with Brady too many times. Even within the last 24 hours, it's happened.
Night, the guy's fucking still doing it.
You feel like later. You go up with 1:20 left on the clock. You're like, fucking great.
Nope. No. Amazing. Nick, thanks for being here. Hollywood Herd, I hear you laughing in the background. We love you, buddy. Continued success in your company. For D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinking Bros Podcast. Good night, everyone.